Oh, there she is.
Hi, Heather.
How to get this to work right. Hello.
Chief, I got the okay from my daughter. We're going to Hawaii in October. Okay.
Okay, good.
Everybody put on your calendar.
Road trip, October council meeting in Hawaii.
Sounds good.
That's one place I've never been.
Haven't either.
Me either.
That's got to be on my.
I'll go.
It's got to be on my bucket list.
My dad was on a sub in World War II, so he had been all over the Pacific. So whenever my mom said, I want to go to Hawaii, I want to go here, my dad was like, I was there. I've already been there.
It's
I felt so bad
overrated.
for my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, you were under it, Dad. You were under it.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
How's it going?
Hi,
We're
Chuck.
making plans for October's council meeting, Matt.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
We're making plans for October's council meeting. Pencil this in. We're all going to Hawaii.
Hawaii?
My daughter's getting married. We're going to do, she wants to get married at my house. We decided we'd do it in Hawaii instead.
Perfect. I've been to Hawaii before in October. 17 years ago.
Her baby.
Teenager.
Right. Just a baby.
Sorta. Is that Heather?
Yes. How
Hello,
are
Heather.
you?
Well, how are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you. I'm Matt.
You too. Is
Hello,
your mom
everybody.
Sue?
We also have Chuck Peterson, too, that's joining us tonight.
Hi,
Matt,
Chuck.
Heather-
Are you on?
Hey,
Hi.
Chuck.
Pardon me?
Let's
Hi,
say,
Chuck.
Hello.
hello, Chuck.
Hi.
Matt, Heather asked if your mom was Sue.
Yes, yes, that is my
Okay.
mom. Right there in the corner.
Yep.
Yep. Very good. Where are you?
We bought Janet Barker's house. So we're up the hill across from the reservoir. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The house that had the ramp. Maybe you remember that.
I looked at that house.
Yes, that's what I hear. A lot of people looked at the house. Did you find a house yet?
I'm in Streetsboro.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. I like that back porch
Yes. Yeah.
with that back view.
Yeah. We just replaced all the windows. So the windows are slightly larger, so it's even nicer.
So do you go by Paige or Heather?
No, I go by Heather. I'm not sure why it has my daughter's name. Must be because of her
okay,
school
okay.
activities.
I think that'll be fixed real quick, just a guess.
Yeah. Paige's mom. That's all I need to hear. Oh,
Let's say at least the cat filter's not on.
yeah.
Come on, Matt, do that.
Everybody see that video?
It's fabulous, isn't it?
Joe, are we going live yet? It's 6:29.
Yes, we're all set.
Someone has some music playing in the background that might create issues during the meeting. Or TV. Okay, it's 6:30. I'd like to call this regular council meeting to order on February 16th at 6:30. Matt, do you have a flag so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, I didn't log in. Oh, no.
That's all right. We can just do it without it, can't we?
Yeah, we could do it
Sure
that.
we can.
Marty, you want to lead us?
Yes. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag of the United
United
States
States
of
of
America and to the republic for which it
For which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and justice
Justice
for all.
And if we could have a moment of silence for Dennis Lang, who lived in the community and served on council for several years, and Eileen Harvey, who is Vern's mother-in-law. Jenny, roll call, please.
Matt,
Here.
Marty,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Tammy,
Here.
Ben.
Here.
A motion to accept the January regular council meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Motion to approve the special council meeting minutes, February 2nd at 6:30.
Moved. Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty.
Yes.
Okay, next is the mayor's report. Before we move on, I'd like to introduce everyone to Heather Paisley and Chuck Chuck Peterson.
Oh, we also had minutes from February 9th.
February 9th.
Thank you. Motion to accept the minutes from February 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Again, we have Heather Paisley with us and Chuck Peterson. They both sent in letters of interest for the open council seat. I'd like to open this up for council to question. Matt, you want to start off?
Yeah, sure. Can you just both of you start by telling us a little bit about yourselves? Heather, you want to go first?
Sure. So we moved here about 3 years ago, and we had open enrolled our daughter from Ravenna from the very beginning, so she didn't miss a beat with Crestwood. And we very much enjoy Mantua. It reminds me a lot of where I grew up, which is in a small farm town called Gustavus at the edge of Trumbull County on a 90-acre farm. So I can appreciate the agricultural interest in this area. And we just enjoyed the township and look forward to being here.
Very good. Thank you. Chuck?
Yeah, I originally moved here in 1988, and I've been here ever since. We raised our kids in Mantua. I've always enjoyed the town, thought it was a great place to be, great place to raise your kids. And now that life's starting to slow down a little bit, I thought it would be nice to get involved with the governing body and take care of our town.
Very good.
Ben, questions?
I'm sorry, Mayor, what'd you say?
I asked Ben if he had any questions. Tammy?
Yeah, for both of you, my question is, what do you think the biggest thing you can bring to the village is? You know, what's the biggest thing you'd like to see improved or brought into the village?
I've already been working with a barn artist. I don't know if you recall an article that was in the Villager last fall. We had an artist from Cincinnati come to town and donate paintings to our local historical societies. He does palette knife paintings of the old barns before they get torn down, so that we have something, you know, documented in history with a painting and essays. So he's coming back again this year. I'm working with him on another trip up here, and just working with more of our history and what we have to offer and developing that a little bit more. As far as what I would like to see, I guess just more growth and more self-sustaining type funding. We need to work, you know, tackle some funding issues. So.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed the small little businesses that have popped up in Mantua over the last few years. Restoration 44, and then their coffee shop, and then most recently their butcher and bakery across the street. It'd be nice to see some more businesses come in, make Mantua a little bit more attractive to a business coming in. I think we've got a lot to offer as far as a direct route that comes through town that's well traveled. I don't want to see Mantua turn into an Aurora or a Streetsboro as far as busyness, but it'd be nice to build up enough so that the town is just a little bit more comfortable as far as finances go.
Thank you.
Scott, questions?
So for both of you, what do you feel the village's biggest weakness is right now? And what is the village biggest strength right now? And how can we improve?
So I guess community involvement, not having enough support for things, and yeah, you know, tackling the issues, not have just a lack of support. And then I'm sorry, what was the second part?
What is our biggest strength?
Our biggest strength, well, is that we are a community and we are very close knit, and you know, there's many family members that have been here for generation after generation. I mean, one of the things I enjoy about Mantua is that many of the roads that you see are named after these families. You know, you can tell, you go through the cemeteries and you know a Brugman, you know a Stamm, you know somebody in, you know, who's here today that has had ties in this community. So I think it's rich as far as community ties. We just need to get more outspoken, I guess, or more involvement.
Okay, Chuck?
I agree a lot with Heather as far as our biggest strength is the fact that we have such a strong community. And a lot of the families are not just 3 or 4 person families. You look and it's multi-generational, and the people have stayed in the area because they like Mantua, they like what Mantua offers. But I think our biggest downfall is our lack of communication about what things that are going on in Mantua and around Mantua. There's been several times that Well, like the Art on the Hill, I didn't hear about that until the weekend before it was supposed to happen. Which, you know, it's not bad if you have a lifestyle that allows you to spontaneously go ahead and take care of something and go and enjoy what Manaway offers. But if, you know, you've got your calendar booked and you didn't know about it, then you miss out. I think communication needs to be stepped up.
Okay.
Marty?
Curious whether they belong to any other organizations in and around the village.
So I used to be a member of the Manaway Soccer Association. I used to be a board member there. And in the past, I've always served on some, I always believe in volunteering. I used to be a state certified ombudsman assigned to a nursing home. I've always given blood for the Red Cross. So I'm constantly working with some organization. Right now, I was not. So my neighbors have pushed me to appear here tonight. So, which I'm glad to help a village. I've had my fair share of small nonprofit groups. So I think it's interesting to be a participant. I feel like I'm giving more by participating with the village.
At work,
Good.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's good because this is a small nonprofit group.
Well, yes.
At work, I'm involved with their union for the first 16, 17 years I was there. I did nothing. I was just a member. But in the last 15 years, I've actually been an officer in the union, both as a financial secretary and now as a treasurer. And then we're involved pretty heavily in our church. I'm on the deacons crew, and I also work with the media team.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
How about you, Mayor?
Okay.
You don't have any questions, Mayor?
This is a council appointment.
I still have a few questions.
Okay.
It's my standard questions. Now you two have probably like answered these to some degree already, but it's just the 3 questions that I have to ask. Chuck, we'll start with you. What is your own personal absolute favorite thing about Manaway?
My what?
Your favorite thing about Manaway?
My favorite thing about Manaway, I think, is the park down by the river. Our kids played there hours on end, and I really enjoyed it. Now the grandkids go down there, and I've got real good memories with them down there playing. And I got to admit, Sunday afternoons we used to play football down there, so I had a good time down there myself playing. But the other thing that I really enjoy about Manaway is the quietness of Manaway. It's a calm in the midst.
Okay.
We're not close to anything.
There it goes.
And it's kind of nice to be quiet.
Yeah. I always tell everyone you could hear a pin drop after 8 o'clock around here.
Roll up the car.
Heather, same question. What's your favorite thing about Manaway?
So I actually have a lot of things I like about Manaway, but my favorite would have to be some of the history, some of the rich history with, how the Mormons on all their stories and to find out about the spiritualist camp down at the river and the railroad stations and how there's so many stagecoaches and, one went bankrupt and there's just so much history here and it's just really interesting to learn about it. So I think we need to embrace that a little bit more and bring it out a little bit more because we didn't just grow potatoes.
Yeah.
And then also, like Chuck said, the quietness is just, that's a nice aspect of the area. And then another thing that I think a lot of people overlook is our sand and gravel. We have so much of it, our sand and gravel outfits. So that's kind of a nice thing to have.
Yeah. Okay, question number 2. And this is not, well, here. What's your least favorite thing about Manaway? And not something necessarily that you would seek to change as being a member of council. Just something in general, though, like when you think about it, like, I really don't like this about Manaway.
My least favorite thing is listening to the band on Friday nights when you're trying to watch a little TV. I mean, it's only during football season, and the high school football field is just right across the street from us. So it gets kind of loud, but it's 8 nights a year, so it's not really that big a deal. But that's my least favorite thing.
That's cool.
And we're the opposite. We love hearing the band, the band and the church bells, it's nice. But my least favorite, I think I'm going to have to say the mosquitoes.
Yeah. I don't like the band because I can hear them practice on Sunday afternoons in the summer. That lets me know that the summer is winding down.
True.
All right, last question. So what was your own personal motivation for wanting to apply? Like when you woke up in the morning and you wrote this letter of interest and you sent it in, like what did you say to yourself to make you decide to want to write the letter and send it in?
So, I mean, I've been encouraged, I've been encouraged before to run, but I've always tried to defray from doing it because I work full time and we have a daughter. So, our time's rather limited, but, you still got to make time to help out and participate. So, and because I haven't been obligated to a group at the moment, the timing was right, and so it's just the timing, and my neighbor's calling to encourage me to do it. So, and Chuck, you're my neighbor too, so hey, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, right on.
We finally slowed down enough that our evenings aren't totally jammed with kids growing up, and we don't get to see the grandkids every night. We get to see them once a week most of the time. And I've always kind of wanted to get involved with the council, but we've always had too much going on, and my priority was family first. I wanted to make sure my family was taken care of and raised properly. But now that life has slowed down a little bit for us, I told someone a couple years ago that I'd be interested in doing this. And they sent me the link and said, hey, I remember what you said. So I figured I better live up to what I said, and I put in a letter for it.
Yeah, awesome. That's cool. All right, and just to make sure, just so I'm straight, you worked for was it SBC? Windstream, that's right, Windstream. Yep, so you're a technician for Windstream, and you're from where originally?
Well, my dad was in the Navy for 20 years, so we're from all over. We moved out here in 1979 from Washington State.
Okay.
Then I joined the Marine Corps and came back.
No, very good. Thank you for your service, sir.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my honor.
I appreciate it. And Tammy, you're from Trumbull County, but what do you do for a living?
Her name's Heather.
I mean, Heather.
So I work at Midwest Land Clearing and Van Kuren Services, a tree company. So I do utility billing and contractor compliance and pre-qualifications.
Very good. I screw up names all the time too. I call the police chief John. I'm still living that one down. So. All right. That's all the question I had. Thank you both very much for applying.
Sure, no problem.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Tammy, any more? Ben?
I'm good.
Randy? Scott?
I'm all good.
Marty, any more questions?
No.
Okay, Michelle, at this time, we can have a vote if council so chooses, or do you want to ponder it?
Can we go into executive session and chat?
You certainly can, and it would be for appointment of a public official.
Official.
Make that motion,
Official,
Tammy?
official.
Yeah, I make a motion. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Do you guys want me to go in there with you, or you just want to hit the leave button when you're done?
I don't care.
Does not matter. It's up
Well,
to
it's
you,
up to
Michelle.
you. It's up to you who you invite in with you. I don't have to be in there.
No, you can come in.
Come on in.
Okay,
Come on in.
Doors
Join
open.
the crowd.
all right, hang on.
Just in line.
So here we are.
Here we go.
So hey Joe,
Yes.
I got a police story for you.
Uh-oh.
So took my son to it's called Ram Jam out in I think it's like Elyria or Sheffield Lake. It's a indoor dirt bike track, kind of like a little supercross. So we were there, and we've been going there the past couple months now during the winter months. And my son's he turns and goes, look at that. He goes, man, that kid's got a brand new KTM 85. He goes, it is so brand new. It still had the stickers from the dealer on it. And I'm like, what? I mean, now keep in mind, this is a Sunday. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I'm going, like, what? And I look, and sure enough, so I was talking to the dad, and he goes, yeah, he goes, we just picked it up Saturday. And he said, we were coming back from Pennsylvania. They live in Michigan. And he said, so we hit a hotel and we were going to the track today. You know, that's why we're there. He says, literally, it has never been run. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, it's just kind of a weird thing, right? He says, and here's the police part of it. He said, his son is, I think he's like 8 or 9. I mean, I ended up finding out watching him ride. He's a really good rider. I mean, like crazy awesome. And I guess they travel around, I don't want to say the United States, but they must travel enough. And they were down in Georgia, I think he said like 2 weeks ago. And for some kind of a ride, something or whatever, they get another indoor track. And they parked in the parking lot at the hotel. And they have their trailer. It's one of those enclosed trailers, not like one of those big, huge ones, but, you know, just maybe like the size of your car. And he says, you know, I had a wheel lock, you know, so somebody couldn't like pull the trailer. He says, I had it like locked to the back of my hitch. He said, I had my, the hitch locked to my car. I had lock bolts on the back of the trailer. He says, I backed the trailer up against another car in the parking lot. I parked under the lights, all this stuff. He says, we come out in the morning and the car, I guess, this is the one boo-boo he made. The car that he had parked behind had actually left, I guess, during the night. And so therefore it was open. So because this trailer, the whole back comes down. And so now you're able to open it. Well, somebody went and they, cut the bolt off where, the locks he had 4 dirt bikes in there. 2 of them were these KTM 85s, brand new. He had just bought 3 weeks earlier. And because again, his son's a racer, this 8-9-year-old. And he said, not only did they take our 4 bikes out of the trailer, but his trailer's still there, right? He says somebody else in the parking lot coincidentally had a flatbed and they had one of those side-by-side, like those $20,000, $30,000 UTVs, surprisingly did not have it, locked into the back trailer. And they unhooked it and stole the trailer with the ATV. So in that evening, they sold for $50,000 of dirt bikes and UTVs.
And nobody in the camera system in the hotel saw a thing.
They said where they parked was just outside. Like they said, you could just see the tip of the strip. I know. I go, how convenient. I go,
Hey guys, we're back.
Oh. Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
yeah. You don't like that? Joe just says, oh.
Oh,
Motion to come out of executive session.
So moved. Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
So if council has made a decision, do you just want to go around the group and say who you're voting for? Would you like me to each give a name? And
Usually we do a roll call and everybody says who they vote for.
that's what I was asking today. Thank you. Matt, start with you.
Yes, I just wanted to say you are both very qualified candidates. And again, thank you for your time and for applying, but I'm going to select Heather.
Thank you.
Tammy?
Heather.
Thank you.
I would reiterate what Matt said. Thank you both for your time. But I'm going to vote for Heather.
Ben? Ben?
Heather.
Thank you. Marty?
Thank you both for applying, voting for Heather.
Yes, I'd like to thank you both. Also, apparently it goes to Heather. I want to thank you both and Chuck, to remind you that this year we have 4 council seats open, and one of our long-term members, Marty Hura, has decided he will not be running again, so there will be an open seat there. So please consider getting put on the ballot.
Okay, I will. Thank you very much for your time and thanks for your
Thank you.
consideration.
Thank you for your letter.
Thank you, everyone.
You guys have a good evening.
You too, Chuck. Thank you for your time
Thank you.
and your service.
Oh, you're very
Michelle,
welcome.
yes, thank you, Chuck.
My honor.
Michelle, you want to swear Heather in?
Yeah, Heather, are you ready to be sworn in?
Sure.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the laws and ordinances of the Village of Manaway,
and the laws and ordinances of the Village of Manaway,
and that I will honestly, faithfully, and impartially
that I will honestly, faithfully, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of council member for the Village of Manaway
of council member for the Village of Manaway
for so long as I shall continue in office.
for so long as I will continue in office.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Welcome aboard.
So this is probably something of a quick trial by fire for you, but are you ready to participate with us tonight? I can get you a quick, I can quickly email you the council packet, or you can quickly get it off the website. At least you can read along.
I mean, sure, I can try.
I know.
I mean, I have followed on and off. I just not up to date currently at the moment. You know?
No, and you wouldn't have looked at the packet for tonight.
Okay.
You just shoot you an email with it.
Sure.
Okay, hang tight here.
And if you have any questions, Heather, as we read the legislation, as soon as I read it, we'll open everything up for discussion, so we can try and explain to you where we're at and what's going on. How's that?
Okay.
So, and while she's doing that, I will start my mayor's report.
Real quick, Heather, if I could just offer you some quick advice.
Sure.
The only time that you are allowed to communicate with other council people is in this forum and not outside this forum. So you have to look for that.
That's not true.
It's true in the fact that if 2 of you are on the same committee, that you should not be meeting and discussing council business. If you're not on a committee other than council with someone, then you can probably discuss anything you want.
Okay, now is that only referring to the sunshine law or is that, okay? Okay, because I thought that was for 3 people, but,
Most of our committees are 3 people.
okay,
And so, okay, you would be serving on service, so you would be on with
Safety.
Scott and Matt, and you're taking Paula's place, so the 3 of you couldn't go and meet for coffee somewhere
Right.
okay,
and discuss village business. But if you're not on it, you could,
Safety, she'd be on safety.
yeah, if she's on safety, so that would be with Ben. So, but 2 people cannot meet, but,
okay,
I mean, you can meet, but you should not discuss or make decisions about
Right.
government business.
We
okay,
could sit and have a cup of coffee, but we can't talk about service.
right,
Okay, I should not talk about service.
Well,
Okay.
that's not true either.
Pardon me?
Let's move on with the meeting.
Well, we try not
I
to
just-
violate the sunshine law.
Yeah,
Just like when you go into executive session, you shouldn't discuss what you discussed in executive session.
yes. Executive
Executive session is not executive session. It's a public meeting and people can be talking about it.
okay. I've got the meeting minutes ahead of me here in front of me.
Okay.
46 pages, ooh.
There's a lot of legislation tonight, so
Okay,
your first,
So while you're perusing that, I will start my mayor's report, which that's not in there. So first up is special event forms. We received a special event form from Art on the Hill for July 10th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and one from Headwaters Trail Adventure Race 710. It's 7/10/21 from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. If we so move to approve these, they will be contingent on the CDC guidelines and what Governor DeWine tells us at that time. So right now we're in the red, so we still couldn't do it, but they could be approved now. But if CDC says otherwise, they would have to cancel.
Motion to approve them.
I second.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes,
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
yes.
Marty.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. We had a meeting with Portage County Water Resources. We discussed that at service. At that time, because the county is behind in getting all of our information put into accounts. They have requested and we have passed legislation at the special meeting. Isn't that what the special meeting was, Michelle? To handle that. So you guys are all aware of that. So I should have taken that off. Held the pre-con meeting for West Prospect Street Phase 2 project. Prospective start date is 3/15/2021, weather permitting. I'm going to have Mary Ann send out a short little letter to everyone on that end of West Prospect to let them know that when it's going to be starting. They're going to be, we're going to still be meeting up there. We didn't meet last week with Jean and Chris DeLuca on that to see where they're going to be staging and such. So we'll be working on that yet. The target of opportunity grant that Dan Tillett had approached us about, which is CDBG funding. I'm still waiting to hear back from him to see if he has gotten letters from the other businesses confirming that they would be supporting this project. So as soon as we hear back from them, I still have not heard back from Senator Serrano's office at all. Anytime I leave a message, it says they're out of the office due to COVID. They'll get back to me as soon as they can. Let's see. Mary Ann has all the estimates, quotes, whatever you want to call them, for Booker Park Phase 2. She has spoke to Brian about it a little bit, and we're going to probably be starting to order the things since we're going to be appropriating some money tonight. And I would like to ask council, all the work authorization money for Brian to handle the paperwork for us has been eaten up, and if we could have council approve an authorization to up to $1,000 to help us finish this project, I'd appreciate it. So I would need a motion.
Yeah, so moved.
Second,
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Ben,
No,
Scott.
Yes.
And I would ask that we take it out of parks improvements, since we have $8,500 or around over $8,000 in there. We could take it from there, what we need.
Okay. Agreed.
Agreed.
So I need to make a motion for that to happen, Michelle. So there's no question where they want it to come from.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have it in the minutes.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Second,
Tammy,
yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
no,
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the paneling enhancement grant. We spoke a little bit about it at finance. We had been speaking about it at service. I did misspeak at finance. I was only looking at one page. The original quote that I had gotten from the paver was $49,700 because we could not put a concrete ramp in because of the mussels and the bats, and we'd have to pay to have the Army Corps of Engineers come out and do one of their studies. We scaled it back to have it be a nice gravel ramp into the thing. So here is the pricing that we have. At finance, I thought the whole total was $20,200. That's how much it will be to pave the turnaround and the drive over to there, and 4 parking spaces, 2 of them handicapped. The rest of the money is for paving the east parking lot between the Potato Building and the Lodge and Katie's Meadows, paving that whole area there, which is $21,500. Signage is $48,000, or sorry, $48. Contingency is 10% of the whole funding. It's $4,180 for a total project of $45,978. Now, the only thing that we are missing is we do have to apply for a floodplain permit, and we are checking with the grant people to see, ODNR, if we have to have an engineer's stamp on our paperwork. It's not specific on there, and this is a brand new grant, so we want to check with them. And also, this grant is 100% reimbursable. There's no match on it. We have to put the full amount up front if we receive it. And once we pay everything, as long as we keep it within budget, we'll get refunded all of the funding. So we will be reading that piece of legislation. It's number 18. So I'll give you guys time to think about it. If you need the figures again, I'll give them to you as we go on.
Linda, could you just reiterate real quick what they're gonna pave the parking lot?
They're going to pave the parking lot on the east side of the Spud Building and the lot,
Okay.
taking
all right.
you over to like the volleyball courts and Katie's
Right.
Pavilion. That
Right.
whole area there will be paved.
Okay. Then the drive going to the river.
And then the drive going to the river is going to be paved, the turnaround, 4 parking spaces right up there against the river, and then a gravel ramp.
All right, but they are gonna pave the turnaround. They're not gonna leave that gravel?
Nope.
Okay.
And that's why,
Okay.
that's why we need the floodplain permit.
Okay, all right.
And Mayor, are they gonna make it, do we have a width on that turnaround? Because I know it's
Yes,
tight
he
now.
has widened it because when we first put the gravel in, it's been like 4 years ago, we had Camp High come down with their bus to do the turnaround, and that's how we based it on how wide it needed to be. We're finding now that they go off the gravel and they've created ruts and stuff. So it's being, the turnaround itself is being widened.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Any other questions on that? Okay, I'll continue with my mayor's report then. I had Mary Ann order and service replace traffic signs at the cemetery and at the canoe turnaround. What someone had taken no parking behind this point down right before you get to the turnaround. And they also during the summer had started parking in the grass. And so we put up 2 signs, no parking behind this spot and no parking in the grass. So hopefully that will alleviate it. We have quotes for the volleyball court. And those, I have 2 different quotes. One for $2,053.82. And the other one is for about $1,300. The volleyball court, the Rotary Club had reached out to us a year ago and wanted to do a grant. And so I said, that's fine. And service had said it was fine at the time. And then they called me back and they said, oh, Brugmans are going to donate volleyball sand to replace in the volleyball court. And I questioned them. I said, well, what about the other things that's needed? Because you have to dig it down. And I'm not going to be exact on all this, like 13 inches, you have to put a base in, then you have to put in your sand, then you're going to need edging around that. We also need to get those foam pads or whatever that go around the steel poles that are there, get a new net and get a winch, is that how you say the word, winch? To keep the net tight. And so there were several things that it would needed. And so I went to the Rotary and said, okay, it's great that Brugmans are going to donate the sand. Our guys can do the work, but who's going to pay for the rest of the materials? And so I will be going back to the Rotary to see if they are willing to pay for, last summer they were willing to pay for the extra materials, but we'll see what they say now that we have exact figures.
Mayor Linda, may I ask where this volleyball court is?
Well, actually, if you go down to the park, on the east side of the lodge and the potato building and the driveway, the parking area there are 2 yellow poles there that this past summer, because of COVID, the service department didn't take care of it. It's all grass, but it's 50 by, I think 50 by 30. It's regulation size.
Okay.
And so it's there, like where the potato festival happens.
Okay.
But it's been there for many years. It's just this year, because of the COVID, they didn't take care of it like they should have. They did get on board with cleaning up the playground equipment because we started spraying down there daily for keeping it sanitized. Okay. Service repaired the accent point up at the cemetery for the storm sewer. They need to still reseed that in the spring. And as the dirt settles, I had them get an estimate because we have a storm sewer that needs repaired up on Ambler Lane. And it's going to be 10 hours labor and $400 in material. I have 2 of the 3 evaluations done. Going to be working on trying to get the last one done this week and then getting with the chief to assist me in running the driver's license check that was required from risk management. They gave me the information, but I'd rather you be sitting there when I do it with me. I'm going to be working on the 2021 budget unless we get a village administrator in the next couple weeks, and that person can do it. Otherwise, I probably should have it done after the first week in March. And the guys have been busy plowing and salting. And just so if anybody was aware, there was a water break in town on Main Street here in front of the building over the weekend. I contacted Mary Ann at home because I knew that the county wasn't set up for anything like that yet. And she did send out an EMG alert on Sunday night. And then on Monday, sometime in the morning, she sent out that we had no boil. They were able to do that. Okay, one more thing and then we can move on. I received a letter today, or an email from a gentleman and his family that live in the village, and said that they were driving down Franklin Street and they saw a flag on a White House that had some derogatory comments on it, and they were very upset about what it says. If anybody wants to see it, he sent it anonymously. I did email him back stating what we had found when we researched last August and September, when we were told about these signs back then, and that it's a First Amendment thing that we can't do anything about it. He thanked me when I sent all the stuff to him for doing it, letting him know. So, and that's all I have for my, oh, one more thing. Sorry, one more thing. Also, a work authorization from CT Consultants for $2,500 more on the Dollar General store for Jean to do the construction inspections. Dollar General has submitted. Have the check here. The clerk will have it. They are paying for the inspection. So just to let you know that I'll be signing that. And moving on, citizens. Michelle, we have any citizens out there?
Linda Schilling wanted to congratulate Heather and tell her she knows she'll do a great job. And she also thinks that the paddling enhancement grant will make it look nice with the parking lot. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Two quick comments, Mayor. I just want to say great job to the service department for clearing the streets as always. They've done a great job.
Yeah.
And I was impressed with the county's response to that water main break. I went over there Sunday night and there was like 7 trucks out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were trucks everywhere and they had all blocked off and they were working on it, man. So it was a good response by the county for that.
Yep.
Well, they had, not Lulai. Yeah, it was Lulai that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they were helping. Yeah, they called me. I'm thinking it was between 5:30 and 6. John and I were just sitting down to have dinner. Said, just wanted to let you know. I said, I don't have to call anybody out.
And Mayor, they finished, they worked all night. They finished between 3 and 4 a.m. when they finally got it buttoned up.
Yeah, I know Bruce had told me that he was able to leave at about 1. So, but Lulai was there. So that was nice. And we did have to call the service department out because of the water running down the street that was creating ice on 44. So they did come out and salt for us.
Cool.
Okay. Any other citizens, Michelle?
No, nothing else.
Okay, Jenny, financial report, please.
Okay, our funds are all pretty stable. Revenues for January totaled about 85,000 and expenses came to about 79,500, not including the 327,000 that we sent to the county for our water and sewer fund balances. We have not received the credit card bills yet, but the requisitions that I have so far are all just our normal standard expenditures. We're slightly under on revenues so far. Appropriations look good though. had one adjustment on the bank reconciliation for $14.22. I forgot to add the $15 monthly charge for the anthem fee. Last year, we paid it in a lump sum, but for this anthem, it's a monthly thing. And also there was a mathematical error of 78 cents on the Rita deposit. And council approved checks 46329 through 46362 in January. And that's all I have for the financial reports unless anybody has questions.
And Heather, that report was that online or did we just get that one?
That's on the website, but I didn't email it to Heather real quick because that would have just been probably too much to even begin to digest before you start going through it. If you want to look at it, it'll be on the website for a while, Heather, and you can get it off there.
Yeah, and
Okay.
feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
Okay.
And I will send everyone her email address in the morning if they want to contact her.
Thank you.
Okay, correspondence. I think I already gave mine from the anonymous person about the First Amendment. Jenny, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Bills of resolution and addendum bills of resolution.
Can I have somebody approve the financial reports?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tammy,
yes.
Heather.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, again, bills of resolution and addendum bills of resolution. Any discussion on those?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Okay. Moving on to legislation. Ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance authorizing renewal of an agreement with the Mantua Potato Festival, setting forth conditions for the use of the old water plant at Booker Park. Open for discussion. Heather, what this is every 10 years, we redo a contract with the Potato Festival for them to have the use of the building down there. They have to show insurance. They stored some of their potatoes festival things in there. And at one time they did hold their meetings in there. And this just, is telling what the insurance liabilities, the max on those things are. And
Are they the only ones that use it all year?
they're the only ones that use the Potato Festival building, yes. The
Okay.
whole building down there, yes. So this is just second reading, so you'll have time to read it before next month's meeting. Moving on to ordinance 2021-05, an ordinance amending section 13302 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Mantua relating to the powers and duties of the village administrator, amending the job description for that position and declaring an emergency. And we have done 2 readings on this one so far, Heather, and so this will be the 3rd reading tonight. It has been amended. Open for discussion. Tammy?
I'm good.
Okay. I thought you said you had something to bring up.
Oh, we talked, I was going to bring it up as my financial reports. We discussed in the finance meeting regarding part of the pay for this position. Right now, Marianne gets $40 per meeting for to do minutes for meetings. Was the new village administrator also going to receive a stipend for these meetings? We kind of discussed it amongst ourselves that it would just be part of their salary pay. But I wanted to bring that up just to let you know that that's what we talked about in finance, if you guys want to discuss that when we're working on pay for the village administrator.
Any other discussion? Does anybody have any comments about that? So if you don't make any changes, the new village administrator, whoever that would be, would just get an hourly wage for those meetings instead of the $40 per event.
So at any time, would we run into an overtime situation where, you know, if she was doing minutes or if they were doing minutes, you know, at night at meetings, would they be working less during the week? Would we run into an overtime situation if they weren't being paid separately? I guess that's the question.
That would be a Jenny question, because when Chelsea used to do it, I mean, she was a 40-hour-a-week employee and she would get the $40 per meeting. Jenny, did that create an overtime issue, or was that paid differently?
Our handbook says that if people stay for meetings, we should try to have them take some time off. I don't have the section number,
Okay.
but we did set it up that way. A lot of times it can't work that way, and they'll just take comp time or overtime. I mean, a lot of BZA hearings are half an hour or less.
Right.
So it's not going to break the bank.
Right, we put it in here, though, they will attend the meeting, so.
Right. Yeah, they
mean-
would definitely have to be paid for it. And if there's a way that they could go home an hour early one day to balance it out, you know, we
Yeah.
could do that. If they can't
Okay.
do it, then they could take comp or overtime.
Again,
Okay.
I asked my question again. When Chelsea was here, she didn't receive her hourly wage when she did those meetings. She received the $40 stipend. Was that
Yes.
included in her pay, or was that a separate check?
No, that was an additional. It was $40 per meeting.
Thank you.
Should there be a not to exceed, maybe at play with an hourly rate, or what's bringing about the consideration here?
Because we're combining two positions into one. The
Okay.
village administrator would be their own administrative assistant
Okay,
to make it a full-time job. When we had just an administrative assistant, when we have a BZA hearing, which is Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, they needed a secretary to type their paperwork for them and send out their notices. And so for every BZA hearing, she received $40.
It was not in her job description. That's why.
Right, was that
Yeah.
it?
Right.
okay.
So that
Okay.
was kind of separate. So now we're going to be combining them. We just wanted to make sure that there was clarification. It's either going to be there or it's going away. That's what council has to decide.
I agree with Tammy. I think it can be lumped into the hourly, you know, description, wage. But I also agree with Jenny that it won't break the bank if we do run into an overtime situation, I guess, as long as, you know, I'm okay. I'm good with what Tammy suggested.
And that's the way it's written right now, that they will attend meetings and take the minutes.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
So then there's no further amendments. Any
No,
discussion on this? Matt, Marty, Ben?
No.
No, I'm good with it.
Okay, this is third reading then on this one. So. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
No,
Scott,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes,
Marty.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Ordinance 2021-10, an ordinance retroactively repealing section 4.8 of the Village of Mantua Employee Handbook relating to on-call compensation for service department employees and declaring an emergency. Open for discussion. Heather, what this is in years past, when we still, or the last few years in past, when we still had the water and sewer department, our full-time employees took turns being on call every week. So they got 7 hours of on-call time. And they were supposed to be getting paid for it, but somehow it got switched so that it was put in comp time, but that's a whole different story. So when I was reviewing the time sheet, since I am the acting village administrator at the moment, I saw this on-call time and questioned it. And so we have to remove it from our handbook. So these employees aren't getting that time when they're not on call any longer. And so that's what this is about.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other discussion?
No.
Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
I second.
Who seconded?
Everybody?
Tammy did.
Okay. Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Ben.
yes,
Thank you. Moving on to resolution 2021-11, a resolution expressing the intent of council of the village of Mantua, Ohio to dispose of property owned by the village which is no longer needed for public use or is obsolete or unfit for the use for which it was originally acquired by internet auction for the year of 2021 and declaring an emergency. Open for discussion?
Is this pertaining to a specific piece or in general, anytime you have it?
Well, this piece of legislation is anything in general that we want to dispose of, so we don't have to do this part of legislation. The next piece is specific to a certain piece of equipment.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this?
No.
Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-12, resolution declaring that the 1992 Vermeer 620 brush chipper not needed for municipal purposes, authorizing the mayor to dispose of this equipment by internet auction and declaring an emergency. We were having problems, open for discussion. We were having issues with this old wood chipper that they used to get brush and stuff. It was breaking down quite often when we were trying to use it on cutting up limbs and stuff that were really bigger than they should have been for this piece of equipment. And it was just becoming $100-ing us to death, or $500 or $50-ing us to death all the time. It broke every time we used it. So we purchased them a new one, which is bigger, and they're loving it, and we feel better that they're safer around this.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion? Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Marty.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Heather.
Yes.
Thank you. And Heather, we don't usually, we try not to suspend the rules quite so much, but we need to get some of this stuff done so we can get it advertised and take care of it. So just so you're wondering, why are they suspending? We try not to, but it happens. Ordinance 2021-13, an ordinance authorizing certain reductions to the 2021 appropriations and declaring an emergency, open for discussion. This is a piece of legislation for the clerk to make sure that we have our appropriations done, and she will explain to you the changes that she's making.
Okay, we're actually reducing the appropriations in the road and bridge fund. When I submitted everything that we had approved to the county, they went into the negative. The 49,500, the reason for that is because I have a purchase order already for that amount for CT. So we didn't need to appropriate that amount. And the Bookert Park walking trail, we were over by 3,607. We actually only have 21,393 left to spend. So that just is kind of a cleanup for the county auditor.
We need to do this right away, Jenny.
Yep.
yep.
Okay.
Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So
So
moved.
move.
Second.
Second.
Marty,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2021-14, an ordinance authorizing an advance from the general fund 1,000 to the Bookert Park Walking Trail Fund 4201 and declaring an emergency, open for discussion. What this is changing it from one fund to another, what we just approved on the previous legislation, Heather, so that we have the money to finish this project.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Motion to suspend the rules.
So
Motion.
move.
Second.
Ben,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Move.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
Hey, Tammy, we're up to your piece of legislation.
No. I was gonna harass you after you read it. I was like, how's that? This new
Ordinance,
piece of legislation has 2 commas in it and it's a mile long. So
Who's gonna read it?
mayor's reading it, not my meeting.
I think you should. I listened to the finance meeting.
It's
I think she did an excellent job.
He did a fine job.
yes, you did.
I actually told my husband, I said, look what the mayor has to read tonight.
Ordinance 2021-15, an ordinance granting approval and consent to the Director of Ohio Department of Transportation to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitudinal, is that how you say that?
That'll work.
Yeah.
Markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on state highway inside village of Mantua limits and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways inside the village corporation limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and or repair on state highways inside the village corporation limits. What this is because State Route 44 runs through the village of Manaway and they are responsible for it. We are giving them permission to do so. The last time we did legislation on this was 1993, so they must have decided it was time to update it.
Wow.
And they need this as quickly as possible. So again, if there's no discussion,
Okay,
a motion to suspend the rules.
so moved.
A second.
Are we declaring this an emergency?
Yes,
Actually, it's not an emergency, but it is, you can suspend the rules. And the reason it's not an emergency is because ODOT wants a certification that nobody has attempted to file a referendum on it, like anybody would. But so it has to wait the 30 days before it goes into effect. But you still can suspend the rules tonight.
Okay.
I just
I'm
wanted the
sorry.
mayor to read it 3 times, so.
I think she probably doesn't want to. Oh, you did a fine job, Linda.
Yes, you did.
I didn't hear who suspended the rules.
Oh, I
A
did.
second.
Jenny.
Okay. Ben,
yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes,
Heather,
Yes,
Marty,
Yes,
Motion to approve.
So moved.
second,
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
yes,
Marty,
yes,
Ben,
yes,
Heather,
yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to ordinance 2021-16, an ordinance establishing pay scales and positions for full and part-time employees of the village of Manaway, repealing prior inconsistent ordinances and declaring an emergency. What this is since we are at the point where we are hiring a village administrator, which was previously listed as full or part-time, I think is how the old one was. And that we let's see, we removed the part, what was that position? There was something else on the last one that's not on this one.
Administrative Services Officer.
Yes, yes, we removed that. So that was changing that. None of the hourly times are, everything is within the minimum and maximum limits on this, and none of those are being asked to be raised at this time. That's where we're at. Any other discussion? Motion to suspend the rules?
so moved.
Well.
Oh, second.
Ben,
yes,
Marty,
yes,
Heather,
yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes,
Scott.
Yes.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
second,
Scott,
Yes.
Ben,
yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
yes,
Tammy,
yes,
Marty.
yes,
Moving on to resolution 2021-18, a resolution authorizing application for paddling enhancement grant funding through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency. Open for discussion. I talked about this during the my mayor's report and gave you the total pricing contingent on if we have to have an engineering stamp. I think if we have to do that, engineering is not included in this grant, so we would have to pay for that. Oh, am I still there?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
I don't know what happened. Sorry, I just looked up and saw I wasn't there anymore. The grant does not pay for any engineering at all. So I would say that this would be contingent on whether or not we would apply for it if we have to pay engineering fees. Because we'd be paying 100% of that. That's not included in this grant at all. Again, it's 100%, so we would have to put up the full, what would I say, 45,000, let's say $46,000, and we would get reimbursement when it was done. This grant is due on March 1st. Again, we've been talking about this for a little over a month. It's just taken me this long to get all the information that we needed.
So Gene, do you have a feel for how much it would cost for an engineering aspect of this?
I don't have an answer to that, but I don't know. But like for
Okay.
a typical client for something like that, because honestly, I don't know what they would need stamped, but it's not like there's anything huge on there. It's not like storm sewer calculations or anything like that. So I'd imagine $2,000 or something like that. I mean,
Okay. We're not going to hold you to that. I'm just curious if you had a ballpark.
yeah, I mean, I don't see it being anything extravagant. I mean, it wouldn't be like $50, but it wouldn't be like 50,000 either. I mean, obviously we did like Butcher Park for whatever it was, like $8,000 or $9,000 or something. So, and that included design and coordination and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
but that fee would be like based on, because right now, if you don't need, was it Mayor? Who was it? Lamb?
Todd Lamb.
Thank you. Is he the one that I missed?
He's the one that drew up the drawings.
Yes. So if that was sufficient for ODNR and to be able to build, then it would be a matter of us, officially looking, because obviously as a PE myself, I'd have to look at this to make sure everything was good, and, met like the FEMA plan, stuff like that. So, like I said, maybe like $2,000, $2,500. But if it involved us having to put together some plans, it'd be a little bit more to put some sheets together, like we did Boucher Park.
Okay.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did the best you could. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. So
I was going to ask the same question. So my next question, Gene, follow up is, if they do need the engineering grant, are you able to look at it and tell us a fee then, so then we can say yay or nay?
Yes.
Like an idea, ballpark, and then we have a choice to say yay or nay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the next question you would have to know is, are we comfortable encumbering under $49,500 of general fund money to pay for this project if it gets approved?
For me, yes. I mean, ultimately, this is a free upgrade, minus the engineering. Minus the engineering, this is a nice upgrade to the park. So,
it's a huge upgrade.
Yeah. No risk it, no biscuit is the way I see it. But the only thing that I would comment is this may impact our decision making on whether or not we do 3,200 feet or 1,600 feet of Canada Road.
Right.
No, it shouldn't, because on Canada Road, we were going to use part road levy money and part Bain money. But yes, I still agree, that we should seriously consider only doing 1,600 feet versus 32, yes. But it's coming out of a different fund.
Right.
Sure.
I agree with Matt. This is a free upgrade. We just have to float the money out there until it's done, and then it's that's a huge upgrade to the park.
Yeah, huge.
Especially after all the other work we've done. This is kind of a little bit of icing.
Yeah. I mean, it'll just be beautiful to have a paved parking lot there. you
The
know?
parking lots alone, yeah, totally.
And the
And
money,
if we get the volleyball courts done and, you know, then, or the volleyball court, that's just that much better.
Well, and then Mayor, we're also doing the new softer stuff under the playground equipment too, right? So it's just a nice,
Yeah,
nice upgrade for the park.
it is.
but then also consider, because we just advanced, I just want to make sure everybody understands. So that's, let's say $49,000 for the paddling enhancement. We just advanced from general fund. Was it 23,000, Jenny?
Yeah.
So let's say we're up to $68,000 that's going to be tied up in general fund temporarily. Now, I'm looking at this grant application, and it looks like it would be funded still this year. So that we would have from July 1st of 2021 until June 30th of 2022 to get it done. Todd seemed to think it would just take a matter of a few weeks to get it done.
Yeah,
Now, it's going to take longer with the Booker Park situation with those things, because we're going to be working on 3 different projects. And Dave and I had talked, and we said, as soon as the weather breaks, we're probably going to have to spend like 2 weeks down there. If the volleyball court gets funded by the Rotary to do that, we have the risk management issues that all of you were given, the little, I mean, they're little things, but they're time consuming.
yeah,
Place
sure.
of change and those kind of things. And then moving forward with Marianne has the basketball backboards, the nets, seesaw, new chains and swings. And then risk management says we have to put something down on the ground, some kind of fiber mats, and then put the mulch that they said. So she's got all those pricing things done. So it's just a matter of, our guys will have to install the all these things. Seesaw, they probably have to dig and put the concrete, whatever holds seesaw in the ground, those kind of things. So so we'll be using also in kind from the service department. So I just want to make sure that you're all aware of, I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm not trying to be the temple of doom. I just want to let you know how much of our money we're tying up that I can. I mean, that I can let you know.
Very good.
All right, so off the, just devil's advocate, Linda, how long, let's say we get say that Lamb can come in and get all that work done by, let's say, August. How long would it take to get reimbursed?
Well, we'll have to do our, Jean, you want to explain quickly the process? I know we're going to be doing it ourselves and not CT, so.
Right.
So probably give us an extra week. The way it usually works is Jenny would pay Mr. Lamb, and he's going to be doing it all, okay?
Okay,
As soon as he cashes his check and Jenny gets it back, she makes a copy of it, and then she will send it to the proper people that are on this grant application. And then they will process everything with the paperwork and send us our reimbursement. So, Jenny, what's it usually take after you finally send in your stuff? A couple weeks, 3 weeks?
I've only had to do it one time. CT has always done it. The one time that I did it, it was within a month we got the money back.
okay, all right.
Yeah, I
So
was gonna
it's
get,
not a 3-month project. I mean, it's not a 3-month wait.
It's usually not, unless something is not done properly, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we're
And I'm
including the-
prepared to pull some favors from Rich on the side if I need any help on this.
Okay. Well, if there's no more discussion and we need to suspend the rules, I'll vote to suspend the rules. If we have to get this in by March 1st.
Second,
Ben,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to
motion
someone
to
should-
approve.
motion to
I'll make-
approve, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes,
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Okay. We did both, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Okay, moving on to department heads. Chief Urso,
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Congratulations, Heather. Don't know if you remember, they said that you're also on safety, so this is my portion of the meeting. And if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, she takes the chairperson's position because Paula was the chairperson on that committee.
Well, we never really elected a chairperson for this year, did we?
No.
No, we couldn't because
Right.
we
Oh,
had
so-
Tammy was an alternate.
We'll just elect one at the next meeting,
Okay,
which
we'll
is
have one in March just to go through the process.
March 3rd, Heather.
Okay.
So Heather, safety meetings are the first Wednesday of the month at 6 o'clock and we Zoom them. And we try to keep them short, so
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Okay.
We did have a meeting on February 3rd. In attendance was Ben, Marty, Tammy, myself, Michelle. We called a meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Chairperson, we skipped that part of the process. We accepted the minutes from October 7th of 2020. We did the appropriation status, the vendors and the SRO report. Everything's on file. We had no citizens under old business. We discussed the purchasing of the 5 laptops. Again, we're catching up because this was back in October. We installing the 4 temperature gates, so those are done. The UV lighting and the HVAC systems in Village Hall and Park Lodge. That was all using CARES funds. Trick or treat was scheduled for 10/31. That obviously went off without a hitch. No other comments or old business. Under new business, we discussed the Prospect Street parking ongoing issue. Heather, down in front of the old granary, it's kind of a narrow road there. They extended that front porch out on that business. We put signage up and we're still having parking issues down there. It's an ongoing thing. We've been working with that for a few years now. But we discussed that, and one of the business owners wants to put a parallel parking spot there. I just don't think that's going to work, but we discussed it a little bit. We also discussed personnel status. I had one dispatcher resign. I had an auxiliary officer resign. I have one in training right now, officer, and I have one dispatcher that is applying for a full-time job. So we're kind of looking at it. I do have a couple different options. So we have a plan B if these go through. We received the new 8 Marks portables that were purchased from the money transferred from the COVID fund over to be able to pay for police and dispatcher wages. That money then was able to buy these radios. I've gotten the ID numbers, so they should be programmed within the next couple of weeks. We'll get those up and going. And we did receive one marked mobile radio on a Portage County EMA grant. The other thing we discussed under new business was Village Hall access. The High Street door I've ordered and it is in. They're programming it. Will be the keypad for that door. So that should kind of help out a little bit. And then the other thing we discussed, that door is getting about to the end of its life expectancy. It's starting to rot out, and it's probably going to be about $1,000. I said, let's try to get through the winter and wait for the spring thaw, and then we could probably look at it. But I'll coordinate that with Dave, and we'll come up with a plan. And the other thing we discussed is on the Main Street side of the building, the steps coming up in the front, they're pretty deteriorated. They've cracked, they've seen better days. And at some point, we're probably going to have to look at making a move on whether we finish that, coat them. I'm not quite sure, but that's just something that was brought to my attention. So I brought it up at safety. We had no items to go to council, nothing for finance, park, service. We tabled nothing, no executive session. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 3rd at 6 p.m. Motion to adjourn, seconded, and we close the meeting at 6:21 p.m. Does anybody have any questions? If not, that's all that I have, Mayor.
Chief, I just have a couple of quick questions on the monthly report here.
Yes.
Two things that will always grab my attention is property damage and vandalism. I noticed we have a property damage here. What was that about? Can you comment on that? Not to put you on the spot.
Without pulling the report, I can't right offhand.
All right, that's cool.
I mean, I
And
can
the
get you
other
that information.
Yeah, no big deal. And the other thing that popped out was 5 suspicious persons in vehicles.
Anytime we get a call, somebody could in town, help me out, somebody with kids, the Pokemon. So we have Pokemon spots in the village. If somebody goes, the pharmacy is a Poke spot. And so they go there and I guess they get points or something. We do have some of those spots in the village. And we've always encouraged our residents that if they see something, say something. Well, we go and it's, a lot of times they're doing this Pokemon Go game on their phones, but nothing resulted in criminal charges or required any squad calls.
That's cool. They're still playing the Pokemon game?
That's
Oh,
crazy.
yes.
I know. Well, I just saw the
COVID
5.
did not chase the Pokemon away.
Yeah. I just saw the 5 in January compared to 2 for all of last year, and that stuck out to me. I just wanted to question that.
Well, and with colder weather, people get concerned about if cars are running, people inside, carbon monoxide. It triggers a little more in the wintertime. Summertime, you got the windows down, they're not as concerned. But so when in doubt, we tell them call it. It's a good benefit for us to go out and check. We'd rather check it and it be nothing than to not check it and find out that it was something.
For sure. Cool. All right. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
I had a question for you, Joe. Recently I noticed, well, actually Sunday when we went for a walk and nobody else in the town was out. I noticed tracks in the yard in front of the police station, like below where, I'm having my blank here on the dog, where the dog is buried in that little library.
On Diablo?
Yes, Diablo.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just below that, I noticed tracks in the grass. So was that an old driveway? Is that like a section that maybe we could dedicate to a small parking lot just to aid?
If you're talking about the one, you're talking about where College Street used to go across, Mary, you'd have to help me out. I think College Street used to go through there and up to Maple Street. Is that true?
Yes.
If you're talking about at the bottom of that hill, there used to be a road up through there.
Okay. Well, it just seems like it's a large area of grass. What are we doing with it? And since I noticed the tracks, maybe we should just consider sectioning that section off and doing something with it.
I think that 2 previous owners ago that I have to pull the legislation to recall 100%. We needed access for the back drive to come in and out. And we expanded an easement with, it would have been, I'm sorry, Sparky Zoller. And so we did that. And so in the trade, he got part of that property. And I don't remember exactly how much each of us now have obtained through this trade or easement or whatever it was. It's been several years ago. I'd have to look. Michelle can probably tell us, not right now, but I just remember.
Okay, the part that used to be College Street, we vacated it up to the police department parking lot, and then we auctioned off our half, and Barkey was the high bidder. So all of what was College Street is now a part of the gas station property.
That's true.
So if there was any tire tracks in that part, then it was probably related to the gas station.
They were originally thinking about putting a drive-through around there like that by College Street.
That's what it was. That's what it was, Linda.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember the details.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep.
But
That's
I
why
know
we did.
yeah, because Barkey, when he still had it, was going to have a drive-through around the back
Right.
of the property.
Yeah, that was a long
And he
time
needed
ago.
to do a retaining wall to hold all that dirt back. Yeah,
Yep.
I just couldn't remember the details. I knew there was something.
And so Heather, I believe we own right to the top of that hill right before that drop off.
Okay.
Anything else? Mayor, that's all that I have for tonight.
Okay, and I already gave you the village administrator's report. So we'll move on to Gene Arters, CT Consultants, our engineer.
Hello, council and mayor. I don't really have much to say because the mayor did a fantastic job of going through all the same things that I actually put in my engineer's report. But basically, it's just number one, streetscape enhancements. There's something going on with DMRC at the time, but we're always here available in case anything comes out. I did help the mayor just a little bit with the ODNR paddling enhancement grant and construction for the Buchert. By the way, is it Buchert or Buchert?
Buchert.
Buchert. Okay, I want to make sure I say it correctly. Phase 2 construction is obviously coming near an end. You guys have already voted on some of that. Site plan reviews, Dollar General construction is beginning soon. Like you said, I will offer my assistance to the village on an hourly basis to being charged towards Dollar General for any, and I use the word loose when I say inspection. We're not going to watch and inspect or anything like that, what they're doing. It's just to make sure that their stormwater basin is put in correctly, not a survey quality, but like just big picture, making sure that the main street is, repaired, put back to the way it should be. Vet clinic addition is still on a temporary hold there, I guess. And Portage County has obviously taken over the utilities, and so we don't really have much else to do with them, but we're always here in case they have any questions. And I think that's it. Oh, and of course, Prospect Street, you already mentioned about that with the construction coming up upon us here.
Yes. Okay. Scott Weaver, Service and Planning.
Well, for service, I agree with Gene. You kind of read everything that we discussed. So you gave it all in your report. Except, well, wait a minute. Maybe not. Yeah, you did. We discussed the village administrator. I think the only other thing we did discuss that you didn't talk about was we were in service. We were talking about the village administrator possibly doing the rental inspections when we get into the rental inspections, but we kind of shot that down. And I think we all agreed that that was going to be something that we want to keep our hands out of as far as our administrator goes. Still looking, or we are still accepting applications for the service workers for the service department. We decided we're going to wait until March and reevaluate Canada Road, how far we're going to pave after we talk to Jenny at our March meeting. And I guess the only other was the park. We had someone ask about removing the fence, ask Matt about removing the fence at the river. And Marty and I have had very strong feelings about removing that fence until we have a fence around the playground. So we kind of threw that around a little bit, but that fence will remain until we have a fence around some of the playground equipment. I mean, that's insane to even think about. So then at planning, you pretty much covered everything we talked about at planning, except Dollar General, we had to do a replat of the lots, which we ran through and approved. We discussed at detail, at length, this the old Middlefield Bank and the FEMA grant to remove that building and what to do with that property. And John Clark is got his hands in that. He's been talking to the powers that be, anybody that he needs to talk to. And there's a pre-app that's due in September, and John's trying to get, any information he can, but I guess we need to discuss this. I think Tammy and I brought it up a couple months ago about that building, but we never really got any input from everybody else, or strong input. That the owner of that building, we're trying to get a grant to remove that building because it's kind of self-destructing, it's sinking. And the feeling was that if we went in and applied for this grant, that then we would be able to acquire this land when when the building was removed. There would still be a lot of costs to the village. And I think after thinking about it, discussing it at length and planning, I think we're all kind of afraid of what is underneath that building and what it might end up costing the village to remediate that earth, to take over that plot of land, which at first sounded like, Tammy and I had grand illusions of, kayak takeout, little park could be awesome right on the river. And then the more we discussed it, the more we thought about what is probably underneath that building that might not be in our best interest to get involved.
And asbestos in the building, we don't know.
And asbestos in the building. And, it's just, and Gene was involved in this meeting too. And he is trying to get up to date on the history of that area. And between the mayor and John Clark and the people that they know and the things that have been done in that area, I think they are more of a historian for the planning commission than anybody can be, so I don't know. I don't want John to spend a ton of time on this if this is all for naught for the village, and if it's just for the building owner, then, I think they need to put in a little more time than our committee does. We're spending a lot of time discussing this thing and not so sure that this is a prudent move on our part. So is that kind of right, Tammy? Am I explaining this?
Yeah, and it's not
in a nutshell.
It's not 100% grant.
Right.
It's
And a
75.
portion of the
It's a 7.
If I may.
Pardon me? Yes, please.
John met with Ryan Shackerfold and his second in command.
Okay.
They are going to be checking into some other things, other funding sources for this. John made him aware of our suspicions of what we might run into. They also want John to speak to the property owner to see what kind of skin he has in the game.
Okay.
Per se. And as soon as he finds out, he is going to, John and he being Ryan, are going to meet again, possibly even have a meeting with the property owner. Just
okay.
To see where we're at. But he says that there's some other kind of funding that's coming out that might help in the remediation of the property.
Okay.
But the biggest thing is is the property hasn't been appraised. The tax
Right.
map shows a dollar amount.
Right.
We know how much, it's only like, I think only up to $200,000 funding for that. And again, it would only be 150 by the time that they take the percentage out that we would be allowable. Again, because we don't know all the unknowns of the property, you know, what it would be. So Ryan felt that we needed to, instead of just walking away, because I told him, I said, this is what I said at planning. I said, don't walk away, run away.
Yeah.
And he said, no, let's check into some things. And so he and John agreed that they would at least check into things because it wasn't costing us any money at this point. And that was kind of the discussion is, you know, if somebody can spend a little bit of time talking to people and it's
Okay.
not costing us money that, so let's wait and see what John has. at
Okay.
the Planning meeting.
Okay.
And then next, but yeah, you still need to get an idea of, you know, does the county want to acquire, I mean, the village want to acquire this property?
Right. So, I mean, you guys
Available.
kind of think about it, and then we'll update you again, you know, next month and see what John can come up with. Or we just all decided that if, you know, if the village or if we collectively don't want to do this, I don't want John spending just countless hours working on this, you know, just for the business owner. And I agree with Linda. How much skin does he have in the game? Is he willing to do core samples? You know, are we real? You know, is he willing to do a perk test and core samples of the ground before we even dive into this thing? So, just something for you guys to think about. You know, but we'll update you again next month. So, I think that's now knowing what Linda just told us. Then, I mean, since we're not spending any money, I guess we'll just keep going for a little bit, see what happens.
Yeah, I say.
Other than that, that was it. We had some, pardon me?
Just give it one more month and then council can decide if they
Okay.
have any interest in obtaining that property.
Okay, all right. So other than that, we kind of put the sidewalks off until the snow melts, and rental inspections, we're just going to put that on hold until this whole COVID thing's over. But we still need, I mean, we're still discussing, you know, looking for another avenue for an inspector. And then we had some zoning maintenance issues that we went over, and that was it. We were done. It was a short meeting. So.
And I did get 3 of the 5 letters mailed out today.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, Marty, safety, parks and shade tree.
Safety's already covered. Thank you, Chief, for that. And I have nothing to report on parks and shade.
I think next month is when you start having meetings again.
Yes,
And so we probably should send out a
notice to,
notice to everybody on the committee. We need to get Nicole sworn in. I guess we should check with the school to see if they even anticipate there being a possibility of Arbor Day to do
Oh,
that. And I could check with the lady at the tree place. My mind has gone blank. Porty Soil and get a hold of her to see. I mean, I hate to have her order them again and then cancel it. She was so gracious not to charge us last year for that. So, but we have next month. It's supposed to be warming up here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. Okay. Oh, I'm up again. Cemetery. We only had one valid quote for mowing. Still haven't had a chance to work on that. The flower people have not emailed me. They said it would be the same price as last year. I just didn't pull the invoice out. to do that. The other thing is, and I was gonna bring it up under new and other business, but I'll bring it up here. Dave and I met last week, Dave Ackerley, and he says that the front end loader backhoe, is that what you call it, front end loader backhoe?
Mhm.
Is needing a lot of repair. He had set up an appointment with Dean Stebbins to look at it last week, and when the day that Dean went down, Dave was off sick. And so Dean stopped up here, and he said until he would open it up, he wouldn't know how much it would cost us. What he says, the biggest thing that is wrong with it now, and I might need a little help here, guys. The radiator has core lines in it. Is that how you call it? And a couple of those are leaking. And he said he would recommend that we put in some, my term, stop leak type stuff, but he gave me a certain brand name for Dave to put in to nurse us through the winter, because we need that to put the salt, pick up the salt and put it in the trucks. We also, when he does graves, he uses the mini to dig the grave, but then, they put it in the dump truck, and then they put it down, dump it down by the shed up at the cemetery. And then they need the front end loader to put it back in the dump truck when the services are done to get it back up there. He was saying that we might not even need a front end loader backhoe. Maybe we just need a front end loader. Again, don't know. Does council think that we should spend several $1,000s and fix this one up? Should we start looking for a good used one or a new one? At which point we could justify asking the cemetery to pay for part of it. We want to wait and do that later in the year. So that's something for you guys to think about. Like I say, Dave said it would be like a 5-year plan, but it's something, we need to look at. How much money we want to put into it to keep it going. So there's that.
We don't even know what's wrong with it.
Well, we know that the radiator is leaking. That's the major.
It's very minor, because stop leak will take care of that. And even a radiator replacement would be minimal.
Well, Dean said he didn't know until he got in there and all the different lines and stuff. Because we use it for salt, he says, loading salt, that affects it. I mean, that's above my knowledge. I know that salt rots metal, so I mean, I just wanted to make you guys aware of it. It's something on a possibility there. So I will be having the letter ready for the cemetery trust next month, and it will have the flowers on it, the mowing on it, and the water surcharge to submit to them, to the trust. So we'll probably do a basic calculation on 6 months with the water on and 6 months with the water off, that we'd still just be paying the surcharge. So I will get those pricing from the county so we know, so we can submit something there. And Dave would like to paint the shed this year. So we're working on the list. So, and BZA is having a hearing Thursday night on signage. And let's see, and jumping back to planning real quick, we just received another replat for Maginy's property today.
Really?
So I don't know, maybe Maginy's property has a proposal for purchase. I know that it's been for sale, so I was just surprised to see it. At first, I thought it was, why was somebody sending something on the property we just replatted 2 weeks ago?
Huh,
And
okay.
then I noticed it was different lots. Okay, sorry. Tammy, finance.
Yes, so we've discussed the paddling enhancement grant. We spoke about that and the village administrator's pay. The last thing we really discussed besides legislation was paying the service department employees by fund and how we should do that. We discussed it the other day about how they were getting paid and which fund they went to, which hours. And we discussed, is this something that we need to keep track of this year? Knowing that we're going to be running into a shortfall next year,
Mhm.
or how we're going to go about it. Kind of decided that the village administrator, the new village administrator, is going to kind of take the bull by the horns on this and figure this out. That's kind of why we left it. Because that's who's going to know. That's the person who's going to know where they send the people, when and where, and
Right.
and their budget. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Regional planning, Ben, I think you're the alternate. Have they been holding meetings either on Zoom or?
I'm sorry, Mayor. I couldn't hear you.
I said regional planning, Portage County Regional Planning. You were the alternate on that. Have you contacted them since Paul has been gone, or?
No, I was thinking I'd get a packet, but I haven't. They generally would mail me a packet. I went down there for 11 years.
Yeah, I knew you did, but I figured they might be meeting on Zoom. I didn't know.
I'll check and see. I didn't see that.
Well, I'm going to be talking to Todd if you would like me to inquire for you, if they want to send you a packet or send you an email.
Yeah, if they're Zooming, that's fine. I can get on there. I for some reason, I think they moved from where they were at.
Yes, I think they're in the administration building now, the old hospital.
Mayor,
Oh.
isn't that Heather's now?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that moved to Heather?
Well, it will be, but she works until 5 and that meeting starts at 5.
Ah.
I
So
mean,
we'll have,
it used to start at 4:30. I went down there for 11 years at 4:30. Took off an hour of work every month to get down there. But they're in the administrative building.
yes.
Okay.
I'll find out what floor he's on. I'm not sure which floor he's on. I just know that they are
Just
selling,
let-
have
just
sold
let
that.
me know. I haven't seen a Zoom from anybody or my emails. I'll have to start looking.
Okay. I'll make sure that he had, you wanted to come to your, not your Outlook, your other one.
Yeah, don't send it to Outlook. For some reason, Outlook, sometimes I don't get the email for 2 days.
You want him to send it to Renata's email?
No, send it to BGP 4400 at sbcglobal.net. I get that pretty quick.
Okay,
But Outlook, for some reason, I have no clue. Some reason I might not get that email for 2 days.
okay, super. I'll, like I said, I'm gonna be talking to Todd about Dan's situation again, so, okay,
All right.
thank you. Any new or other business? Okay. Heather, thank you for joining the crew tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
We welcome you aboard and motion to adjourn.
Wait, I just have a couple more comments real quick. I'm sorry. I was waiting for number 15. Anything else that may properly come before council. Real quick though, Chuck earlier was right. We do have to do a little bit better of a job of notifying people about stuff, and whatever that is, whether it's stuff that goes around town, positions on committees, things like DeWine's assistant grant that we were talking about earlier, stuff like that. We need like a social media Facebook page or something like that, where we could tell everybody about what's going on in this town, because I'm always surprised to find how much people rely on Facebook in particular,
Yeah.
to learn about things and to basically run their lives. So I think one thing that we really need to take a look at is setting up some type of Facebook page or something like that. I know we do a good job with the police department.
I tried to get on Facebook, set up a whole thing and a password up, and they wouldn't let me in there.
Yeah.
So I haven't been back to Facebook in about 5 or 6 years.
Well, I've never been on Facebook, but we used to when Marty's beloved and my very good friend Diane used to do our Manaway Matters for a year. And then we had Andrea that did it for a short period. That used to have all that information in it quarterly. I don't know how many people actually read it, but when it was no longer there, people were wondering where it was. So maybe it's time to move up and see if we can find someone to. I don't do Facebook. I have no desire to be on Facebook, but if I had to produce articles like I used to before, maybe we could have a Facebook thing that I nominate you, Matt.
I'm not going to be bothered with Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. You can call me or email me, and that's it.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's a great idea, especially the Manaway Matters, bringing that back, because I have actually gone to some of the older ones and read some about it. So I think it's a great idea, but I will tell you, you've got some pretty tough competition with the schools because, as having a child in Crestwood schools, when they have an announcement, they blow up our phones, they blow up our email, they blow up our Facebook. So there's still going to be people who say they don't know.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people out there though. Like for example, that Manaway Over the Decades page, there's like 1,100 people that are on that.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
you could really get some outreach there. So that's something we really need to take a look at sooner than later.
Oh, I'm not going to be bothered with Facebook. I've already tried and I've had enough of it. Either email me or call me, and that's it.
Yeah, perfect. That's cool, man. There's a lot of people that use it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and I understand where Chuck was coming from. I mean, that used to get put in our Manaway Matters. I guess where do you draw the line in it being the village council's responsibility to promote? Promote isn't the right word, because Art on the Hill is a chamber DMRC function. And granted, we do reap the benefits from that because they are such good supporters in a lot of our grants and pay towards the match. But again, I guess it needs to be more coordinated between the chamber, DMRC, and the village to make sure that it gets out to people for it. So it's not just one entity.
Could we just have a calendar on our Facebook or on our website? A calendar of events. When we approve things, it goes on there that the village has approved it, It'd be one place shopping.
Check with our webmaster.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Oh, sorry, Michelle, I didn't notice you.
And you'll ask for a raise next year.
I guess I would just need a copy of the special event forms as they get approved, because I actually, now that we're doing all this Zoom, and it's never made it into the packets. So if somebody wants to email me all the special event forms, I can get those up there.
I
I did used to try to have a calendar of events, but then there was just, it wasn't getting populated with anything, so I kind of took it off. And Linda Schilling's offering to help if you want to do a Facebook page.
Perfect.
Is she really?
She is.
Yes, that's great. Thank you. And the website's great, but people have to navigate to the website. People aren't going to go to the website to find stuff. People live on Facebook. They're on it constantly.
Hey, I think if Linda is willing to help,
I'll make a motion.
if Linda Schilling's willing to help.
I nominate Linda Schilling to be the new editor for the Manaway Matters on Facebook.
I'll second that one. More power to her, man.
I think she's volunteering for Facebook, not Manaway Matters.
Well, it could be Manaway Matters on Facebook.
Yeah, Manaway Matters on Facebook. There
Well,
you go.
I'll wait and see because I have my phone on silence, but I see that she's been texting me through the meeting. So Linda, thank you for being the new editor for our Facebook page.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Linda.
Thank you,
I'd
Linda.
be sorry she volunteered.
No.
She volunteered. We won't hold her to it, but maybe we can talk her into it. She could do that from anywhere.
Right?
Yep.
Yep.
And then
Well,
real quick, my last comment is before about executive sessions. Executive sessions are like Las Vegas. Whatever happens in executive session stays in executive.
That's not true.
It's-
That's not true. That's
It
incorrect.
is.
It is not.
Well, Ben, if you can show us where it says that it's not true, that would be wonderful. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you.
Marty? Marty?
Yes.
Tammy?
yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
You guys have a good evening.
You too. Thank you, everyone.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Good night.